This morning, I climbed into my car with its heated seats, and I thought about how excited I was that they were heated because my lower back is killing me. Now, last week I climbed the Flatiron in Apache Junction, Arizona, and we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into when we did this. We just thought it was going to be another hike. Oh, hee hee hee. We did Cathedral, no big deal. And it was a big deal. It was a really big deal. And halfway up the hill, actually it wasn't even halfway, we hadn't even gotten to the big basin thing. And I was feeling very tired and I was feeling very worn down. I started to feel sorry for myself because I knew the reason I felt out of shape was I wasn't able to do my 3-mile walk that I would do every single day because I wasn't allowed outside. For 2 full months, I was on doxycycline with Lyme disease, and I could barely walk. I couldn't bend my knee, and I was on this antibiotic that stopped me from being in the sun. And so I started to feel sorry for myself. I actually felt like that wasn't fair. I would have normally not had these issues. Why am I struggling? And at about that same time is when I realized that my altitude had changed because I was also struggling with breathing. I have asthma. And I started to cough and my lungs started to hurt. And I realized that I was fighting an uphill battle, literally. And I sat there for a moment and I joked with my friend and I said, this is kind of like the song by Jimmy Buffett, but instead of latitude, it's altitude. And the truth is, they're very similar words. Think about that for a second. Attitude is ATT and altitude is ALT. And the only thing that's different is the T and the L. And so I thought about that as I was walking. Now, when you're an intuitive, everything matters. Literally everything matters. Every stupid thought that comes into your head, if it's not something that you were already thinking of and it pops in automatically, you learn to train yourself to say, this isn't just about me. This is a bigger thing. Or this is a message that's coming from somewhere or someone, and it's somebody whispering in your ear. And, at this time, the air was getting a little bit thinner and the wind was blowing. And I looked up and my first moment was, this is intimidating. I don't know if I can do this. And then I saw in the distance this big basin. And it was the most incredible looking thing. And I could see how little the people looked in this big basin. And I was like, I want to be there. I want to be in this basin. And I'll post some pictures in a little bit so you can see just how crazy this was. But so I sat there and I looked at that and I said, I want to do that. And I thought about it for a second. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take the altitude. I'm going to take the L in the altitude. I'm going to take that loss from the Lyme, LLL, and I'm going to change my attitude. And so I embraced the L and I did it. And we climbed to the top of that stupid freaking nightmare of a thing. And it's not there were people going up and coming down and they were kind of laughing at us. But you know what? We're both over 50 years old and we don't do this for a living. We only do this once a year. I was kind of impressed with us. But we did. We climbed as high up as we possibly could before we were losing sunlight. And then we were like, oh shit, we still have to climb down. So, but yeah, it was an amazing adventure. And all I had to do was embrace the L. Embrace the L. If we were to do that with every single thing that we did in our life, embrace the L, absorb it. And then all of a sudden, that L becomes a part of altitude. And we're at a higher place and we get views for days and we can see things more clearly. And it changes our attitude. It changed our attitude to altitude. Embrace that L because you never know what you're going to get at the end of that. And for us, we got a story to tell. We have bragging rights. Okay, and I have some back pain. But I am 54 after all. But yeah, I embrace the L. Take that L. Always take that L. There's a reason for it. There's always a reason for it. Even if it's something that you just didn't want to admit. If it's a mistake that you made. If it's something that happened to you. Happened for you. Happened against you. Always take that L. Always. Because you might be just throwing yourself into a different altitude. And with that comes another attitude.